All right, rolling.
All right. How many of y'all went to college? Okay. What did you hate the most about the campus?
I love my campus.
So there's nothing you didn't like about the campus specifically, not
Mine was old.
no.
Mine was too big.
It was too big. Okay, so walking places was kind of sucked.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I went to Blinn campus, and while I was there, I asked a couple students, even classmates, I asked them what they disliked the most about Blinn campus, and oddly enough, most of them was just that people didn't understand why it was designed the way that it was, just because it's kind of set up in a really weird way, but it's in a position where everybody has to walk really far from anywhere to get to where they need to go, and a lot of times you don't have enough time to get to classes on time. And oddly enough, the other thing I kept hearing a lot about was that the counselors weren't a lot of help, and that's where I'm going to start. But for my thesis statement, I said Blinn College is generally a decent campus, although compared to others, it seems to be lacking in detailed help from student counselors. Also, the design of the campus doesn't provide a more efficient route for students to make it to class on time, and as well eat or do whatever they need to do, print out work before class. And my first main point is I guess I'll go over the problems with the counselors. The issue essentially was that I get having people telling me that they would go to the counselors and they would ask for help on, essentially they would ask for the counselors to help them provide a certain direction for their classes and what they're going to do after college, after they get the degree. And just about almost everybody told me that basically they went to the counselors and then the counselors printed out a mandatory sheet, gave it to them, and told them to go. I asked, 15, 20 people, and they all kind of gave me the same, response. They said that the counselors didn't really have a whole lot of one-on-one time with the students, and that really caused a lot of issue with people. Because, the whole point of a counselor, the definition of an academic counselor, academic advising, is academic advising takes place in situations in which an institutional representative gives insight or direction to a college student about academic, social, or personal matter. The nature of this direction might be to inform, suggest, counsel, discipline, coach, mentor, or even teach. So essentially, student counselor is there to counsel. The job description in itself is set in the name. And one of the main, the best, I guess, quotations I got from somebody was a student of mine, or not student of mine, a classmate of mine named Mia Johnson. She just said that the counselors should be more help. I went to see them about what classes I should take, and they just printed me a piece of paper with mandatory classes and said that was it. And the other issue I find with Blinn is just the design. I looked at a lot of other campuses, and most campuses seem to kind of have the same idea. It's more toward making the campus look nice rather than making it efficient. But if I couldn't find a good enough overview picture of it, but like HCC, other than the main campuses downtown, essentially it's one big building, and that's it. And the only other time people come outside of the building are if they're high school students, and there's classes for that. That's a whole different subject. I guess I'll start talking about ways, to improve it, and I'll start with the counselors. I would say to do something along the lines of, it's kind of a high school idea, but having all the counselors be divided amongst the students alphabetically, having specific students with specific last names go to different counselors and have assigned counselors, and have stronger policies to have the counselors spend more one-on-one time with students. I'm not a student counselor. I don't know too much about the job description other than what they're supposed to do, but if they're not counseling people, then what are they doing? So I would just say that the best bet would be make stronger policies. This isn't you know, I'm not saying this to get anybody fired, but obviously something, whether it's their their higher ups or it's just them personally, something needs to be done about it, because otherwise students are going to be confused. They're not going to know what classes to take. They're going to end up taking the wrong classes at the wrong times, and it'll just end up being a mess. And my idea for updating the design of the school, actually right now a lot of parts of the school are being remodeled. The food court's being remodeled. But, I mean, quite frankly, it's kind of set up in like two half rectangles, set side to side. What I don't understand is why they did it like that, why they couldn't just make one big rectangle, have the student social center in the middle. You can't really see it very well, but I mean, in between both is a courtyard in both, and it would have just made a lot more sense to have had them linked back to back. And even that way, they'd have more space for parking, so that might solve a parking issue, which is also a problem. But I guess the whole main point of it is, after talking to students, after briefly looking over the counselor's work area before I would leave school, and just asking people, a lot of people really agreed with some of the ideas that I brought up. And I mean, basically my conclusion is that the counselors should have stronger policies. They should divide the students up a lot better, and they should do their job, plain and simple. And as for the school, I mean, going from one side of the school to the other can be tiring, especially when it takes like 15 minutes to get from one side to the other. Because, I mean, you have the science building on one side, and then you have the math building on the completely other. It doesn't really flow very well, and all of the times people don't have time to stop in the food court, or don't have time to stop and print out things in the printing station. By the way, there's a whole separate place in the school where you can go and specifically print things out. But because, you know, it's in a specific place, if you're on the other side of the school, you have to go all the way over there before going to class if you need something for that class. So it just causes issue. But I mean, the only ideas I could come up with for a better design for the schools, I mean, either if they added to the school and made it one big rectangle instead of two, I mean, it would cause a lot of displacement for the students. But given the size of A&M campus, I'm sure that their A&M, the sister school, could have some assistance in planning that out for people. And that's it.
That was good.
Mm-hmm.
That was very good.
Don't stop yet.